Hello and welcome to another episode of Vanilla City Skylines, where we are building out the city of Oakhaven. We have finally reached our population goal of 9,000, which unlocks monorail and trains, along with a few other buildings that we're maybe or maybe not going to get to. But in today's episode, we are going to focus on building out a small town kind of forestry industry. And I know this is potentially going to be controversial, but on this map, I don't particularly like this rock feature. So we're going to say bye-bye to Mr. Rock. And we're going to come in here and just level this out a little bit before we start building out this industrial complex. And of course, it's not going to be perfectly at the same grade that we want it to be, but it'll be fine. I think this will work just fine for us. So, I'm thinking with all these trees, we're going to go with forestry. And what we're going to start with is we're going to start with a one-way road. Let's do with 4 lanes. We're going to come out by a distance of 1,200. And now we're going to cut across another distance of 1,200 and loop back in. Then we're going to create another one of these squares, 1,200 by 1,200. And then come in and flip the direction right here. Let's do another grid of 1,200. Temporarily relocate these water towers. We're gonna come up again and then connect. All right. So we have our base grid for our forestry industry. Now over here, what I want to do is first off paint out the industrial area so that we can unlock those buildings that we need to place. We're gonna just follow along this grid that we made. And probably follow along the road as well. That could be very helpful for us. And I'm gonna place our forestry industry main building right here alongside the road. Let's check and make sure I like how that looks. And that looks fine. Little bit of a hiccup on the grading, but I don't think you can really notice it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus pretty much exclusively on producing trees. I think the way I'm gonna do this is I'm going to separate each of these by 2. We're going to come up through the grid to separate it out. Now these are all pretty much perfect squares. I really don't like the way this looks right now, but we're gonna come through later, and these are all going to be the large, or maybe the medium. We'll see if I like the medium. It'll either be the large or the medium as soon as we unlock those at a later stage, but right now we're worried about just getting our production up. And the way that we are going to kind of cheese the system is by using a lot of these small tree plantations that we have access to, just because we have lots and lots of money. Alright, so we're gonna let this kind of sim for a little bit, improve logistics and advanced automation. And that should help get us pretty high up. Let's also make sure that we have water available. Now that we've gotten rid of our water towers, we need to make sure that we have them replaced. We'll just come with every other iteration of the grid. That should be good for that. And then we want power, which we now have access to geothermal, which we might as well go ahead and place some of those down. So we need 138 megawatts for power. And what we're going to do is we're just going to say bye-bye to all of this industry. Oopsie. Heh, forgot. Have to connect all that in. Really? Really? Alright. Let's connect the power in like this, and that should fix the problem. Sweet. So now let's take a look and see. We have a lot of workers, and they are producing quite a few resources. I'm just gonna kind of come in, place down some trees over here, which is again all part of gaming the system, trying to make sure that we are able to produce as many resources as we can and employ as many people as we can as well. And make sure we get in some water. That should be fine. So now we're able to employ 520 workers, and that has now gotten us to level 2, which unlocks the biomass pellet plant, the furniture factory, sawdust storage, forestry workers barracks, and a small tree sapling field. And our next goal is 350. Let's see when we unlock the large tree field. I believe that is level 5 is when we unlock that. We may, like I said, we might use the medium, which we will unlock very shortly as soon as we get our resources produced, which we can also encourage with sawmills, which are non-pollutive. And so just go ahead and cheese in a few of these. You know, we're not really worried about profit. We have $4.2 million in the bank. But that's going to help us increase our workforce really rapidly, and it's also going to help us produce as many resources as we possibly can. Now, one thing we also want to go ahead and start thinking about, we're going to purchase this tile, which this is where we're going to be feeding in the trains. We also want to make sure that we are able to feed in truck traffic as well. And so probably what we're going to do is we're going to create a little entrance here, and then there's going to be an exit into a one-way loop around this the forestry industry. Of course, we're having issues getting resources to people, but you know that's part of what happens when you don't have a lot of interstate connections. And I maintain that this city is too much of a small town feel to really have such heavy interstate infrastructure. So we're about to hit 1,500 resources, and I don't remember what our next worker goal is, but I know it's somewhere around 500, which we've already met. We can go ahead and place in a couple more of the sawmills. And I think that should get it to where we are able to get to what I know our level 5 goal is, which is 800, or maybe it's 850. It's somewhere around there. But we want to make sure that we can quickly accelerate this. And now we have hit level 3, which unlocks the printing press, the medium tree plantation, and the large log yard. Yeah, so I was right. 550 is what we're going for, and with our advanced automation, it is helping us to increase our production very rapidly, so that we can, because we're not going to be worried about the number of workers we have, because we have enough workers to get this up to level 5. And we also have enough industrial demand to make it happen as well. I guess we can just move this over here. It's not really a huge concern. All right. So I'm going to let this keep simulating, and once we hit level 4 and level 5, we will be right back. And we have finally hit level 5, unlocking the pulp mill, which we're not going to use, the modular house factory, which we're also not going to use, and the large tree plantation. And in addition to all of that, we also have increased the efficiency and decreased the pollution by 40%. So now what I'm going to do is going to pause the game. And just because we have it unlocked, we might as well come over here. Wait, no, it's not there. It's under this tab. Come over here to our little stock exchange. We'll just place it over here. No particular reason. And we'll just kind of cheese it for a little bit of money. So we'll go ahead and drop that so that our forestry industry... where is it? Here it is. That should do it. So we're gonna tank our forestry industry by a good amount. Come over here, cheat the system by really investing, and gain about $2 million. Come on, I want that 2 mil. Really? Maybe we should have cashed out. Oh well. There we go, we're coming back up. We're just gonna sell it there, that's fine. And we'll do it again just to, you know, get us some extra money. Buy it at 514. I guess while we're at it, let's see what happens if we tank the healthcare service fund. It's not going to do anything. Just put it back where it's supposed to go. Crank you back up. Get ourselves another 2 million in a few minutes. Come on. No, not 1 million. I'm being greedy. I wonder if someone just fixed the bug in the system on this. I mean, yeah, we're still getting wicked profits from this, but we'll just do that. There. And I think that will allow us to, whenever we now have all of the banks unlocked, and we also have all of these unlocked for the rest of the series. All because we went and then cheesed that so that we can build an interstate. And some train infrastructure as well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and clear all of this out, and we will be right back. Alright, so I've cleared out all of this area, and I've also, just off camera, done a couple of things. I went ahead and raised the highway so that we can more effectively manage our transportation layers. And I also went over here, you can kind of see the scars of it, just so that I can unlock some of the stuff. I just built a tiny airport just to kind of cheese the system. And basically what I did was I had a small little U-shaped airport right here, built a runway, and planted down a bunch of medium parked planes just to increase the attractiveness. And that was all I needed to do to get the airport leveled up to level 3. And because I got it up to level 3, that means I've unlocked literally everything in this tab. But more importantly, I've unlocked the airport cargo station, which is going to be really helpful in our industrial areas so that we can have one line within... we only have to place one train station. So the one train station will function as both our internal line and our external line. And we've also unlocked some of these cargo roads, which... maybe we can make use of. Maybe we won't. We'll see as we go. So the first thing I want to make sure that I get placed down is the highway, and this is going to sit at a lowered elevation from the rest of what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and lower to about there. I think should be fine. So we're looking for 9 elevation points below this, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one right here. That should work. And just to test it out, we will come and grab just a road. Come down to our lowest elevation. That is perfectly straight and level. So that is where we're going to want this. This is going to be our highway right here. And we'll just build in... do we want to do 3 lanes or 2 lanes? I think we'll do 3 lanes. Maybe even 4. Actually, yeah, let's do 4 lanes. So that it can support as much traffic as we could possibly need. And we're gonna give it a tiny bit of separation as well, just so that we can connect in the lines that we're about to feed in. So this is something that I saw when I was out touring apartments in Atlanta, where there would be one exit, but it functioned for 2 exits. And what would end up happening is, this is the exit that my hotel was at, where that exit would just randomly flank off, but the rest of the exit would continue on into the highway merger from 285 to Georgia 400, which, when it's your first time driving it, it is quite confusing, to say the least. But I managed to be able to figure it out, and we will have something kind of inspired by that. I don't know if it's a good idea to have your traffic be inspired by Atlanta, but you know, we're gonna make it work the best we can. Let's come around and level some of this out, because this is going to be our most important layer that we place right off the rip. So we're going to continue carving this out. And, you know, much like in Atlanta, we want one exit, and this one exit is going to funnel into both this highway that is going to feed across. And I think this one's probably just going to feed across this way and connect over here as kind of a industrial connector highway of sorts. So yeah. And it looks like this is going to be one of our merging points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and pull out this little segment of the highway. We're going to level this out right here. And we want to think about how the highway is going to interact over here. So right here, let's go ahead and carve this out just a little bit wider. And let's get a dirt road put in just so that we can get our grid and line things up nicely. So we want to have, here is going to be 2 sets of 2 lanes merging into each other. That may or may not be fine, we'll see. So now we're going to connect these in. That does not look all too safe, does it? I think one thing we can see if this will work is we're going to use that highway exit ramp trick, and yeah, that is going to work. To where we are, to where we're effectively changing where the road guideline is, and that will help us to straighten this out quite a bit. And hopefully pull it in a little bit and make this a less dangerous merger. But, you know, this being inspired by Atlanta, I think the danger is just going to be part of the game. So let's shorten that off, and then also remember this needs to be one way. And this goes that way. We have these highways backwards. That's totally fine. All right. So again, we're gonna come here and see if we can... Of course, you have to have the directions correct. So now let's figure out where we can put that. So that'll straighten that out a little bit. And we can continue doing this. And I'll go ahead and get this in so that we can move on from this. And we'll be right back. Alright, so we've got these forks where they look at least a little bit less dangerous than they ordinarily would have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get this to line up as best as we can. I think that's probably about the best we're gonna do. And so on this side, we're gonna kind of snake around. We're gonna try to mirror that as best as we can. It's not gonna be perfectly mirrored, and that's totally fine. So let's reverse the directions. So that we can very clearly see this is going into the highway, and that is doing that. So here what we want to do is we're just gonna... Nice try. Let's start off road guidelines right quick. We're gonna come out by a distance of 10 on either side. And then make sure to flip the direction. And we're gonna flatten this out just a tiny bit more right here. And I really wish we had like access to like 5-lane highways, but I think this is just gonna be what we have to deal with. So this exit right here is going to funnel in and connect right here. So we want to think about that. Probably what we're gonna do, let's come up here, and when it comes off the bridge, this is gonna be 4 lanes. And about here is where we're going to split off the highway. Gonna go ahead and build that in, then use our little cheat code. Straighten this out a little bit. As much as we can. Let's turn the road guidelines on so we can just kind of see where we're at with this. Because the main premise of what we're doing with this is we're trying to move this road guideline up. And as we move that road guideline up, the road eventually will straighten out. And that might be the best we're gonna get out of this. So here we're gonna split into 2 and 2. That looks awful. But let's go ahead and mark that out. And what I think I'm gonna do is, what we're gonna do is come here with that. And so we can kind of see where this 2-lane needs to be. We're gonna come off of all of our snapping. About right here is where it looks like it wants to be. So this right here is going to be the 2-lane. And now we're just going to come onto our angle snap and snap it back into the highway. Yikes. Let's come out a little bit. Say that much. Maybe a touch more. And this is all about making sure that this is as smooth of a connection as possible. And that's at least a little bit better. And we'll see if I want to continue this, and I probably actually will continue this out as the 2-lane highway. So we'll come out and try to line up right here. And those will be the 2 lanes. And now what we're gonna do is come over here. Make this be some sort of an exit. and use our little trick. Just to straighten that out a little bit. Now we're going to come in. And that'll be probably as smooth as we can get this. There's something we did over here. I can't remember what I did that made that just work. And actually, what it might have been was coming here. That might have been what it was. And then you can just continue building this out. So, what we're going to do is right here we're going to slope to this, and that's going to connect in. So we're going to click right there and drag this around to slope down to this connector. And we're going to come over here with our terrain heights visible so that we can see what we carved out. And now try to line up with the road guideline. That's close enough. And so now we have our connector off of this that feeds into our main highway. Now we want this to come up, and this is going to swing over and connect over here. So the way we're going to do this is going to first things first. We want to find where we're going to split off from this. And I think our logical split point is going to be right about here. We're going to split off, build a small little curve, and we're going to try to sharpen this angle as much as we can. We're going to make sure that that is 3 lanes, and this is 3 lanes. And that eventually will split into 2 lanes. So I think that is probably about as sharp as we're going to get it. So we're going to cut it there. And this is going to feed around. And into the industrial area. And we are just going to mark that temporarily, as that is how we're going to do that. So now we're going to come to this side, convert that back into 3 lanes. And what we want to do is we want to quickly get this up to this height. So this is going to be quite a steep interchange, but you know, we're thinking about how this is going to interact with the exit. And it might actually be more beneficial to keep this at that grade and gradually slope it up. I think that's actually what we're going to do. So here we're going to pull our level tool. That's going to come to about there so that this can come across. That should be a decent location for that. don't want too much of a curve just yet. Now we want to really start curving it. Now we're gonna right click here, and let's level this out quite a bit. So again, we're gonna right click there and slope up. And once again, we're just going to sharpen this angle a little bit. Which I think that might actually be as sharp as we can get this angle. And then just connect, or turn this into 4 lanes. And it's going to be 4 lanes up until the bridge. Cool. And, you know, I think that's fine. A lot of highways will actually condense this from 2 lanes down to 1 at some point, and I think that would be a logical place to do that. And keep in mind that this is feeding into the industrial. And so I'm thinking this would be a good time for this to switch into what our industrial grid will be. So we'll turn off road guidelines. And that's just going to be the start of our flow system. At least on this side. So this side of the interchange is good. Now we need to elevate this, or begin to elevate it. And I think if we elevate by 2, we should be able to... No. We will not. So we do need to come this way and start elevating. And what I'm gonna do right here is just come and level this out a little bit so that we have a level pad for this. That's just too steep. Yeah, we can just keep going up, but I don't think that would be necessarily the smoothest option. So what we're gonna do, come up by 2 there, and now we're gonna start to curve this around. Oh, yikes. That is not what we want. So let's level this out, buy more soil. We want this to kind of snake around. And eventually it's going to come down. So let's figure out what height exactly this is at. I think it should be pretty close to this. Not pretty much right at it. And then just connect in. So that's going to be the connect in point. Which means that this all needs to come back. And now we're going to push all of this up All of this interchange stuff is so complicated. All right. So come straight out. And we need to have a landing spot for the pillar. Just gonna make that right here. Yes. That will be the landing spot for the pillar. And then just come in. We want to make sure that this right here is 4 lanes. So now we're going to come, I think that's going to be a logical place for us, maybe, hopefully. And now let's try to smooth this out a little bit. Smoothing it at the wrong place. Let's go to road guidelines so that we can see what we're doing. Alright, we're getting better. It might be beneficial for us to do this, actually. And then again, just come straight out. Try to use this to help get this straight. I think that's probably the best we're gonna do. So now we have that side of the connection done as well. Cool. So now we want to think about how are people going to exit out of this industrial area. And what I'm thinking is we can... Since this is going to be our industrial grid, and we're going to have this be quite a large grid, I would think, just because this is going to be largely trees. That should work. That might work. So we need to come down a tiny bit from where we were. I think that's the correct... Let's check it. Close enough. We'll just come behind it with forestry fencing. So I'm just going to temporarily place this somewhere. There, that'll work. And this is just so that we can go ahead and start getting our tree plantations placed in. And so we need to watch, you know, how many trees we're going to produce and make sure that, you know, we're filling in the square as much as we can. You know, as we're rebuilding out the forestry industry. I'm gonna come here just because we need more road space to make this work. Come over, make sure that we are having conifers as our source of trees. And then just simply come behind with forestry fence. And that'll look nice right up against the highway, I think. So like I said, let's think about how people are going to exit out of this. And I think we may just have them exit naturally from this and not worry about having this super complicated exit. Or we can maybe find somewhere over here for them to funnel out. All right. So here we're going to have a bridge that goes across the highway. And make sure that it is a one-way bridge. It'll be a curved one-way bridge. And that will be a continuation over here on the more pollutive side of what this industry is going to be. So let's figure out what this grid was. This was 570, so we want to chop 1 off of that, 570, 540. And repeat this grid. And here we will have more of our trees, except we need to place down a couple more, which is totally fine. Again, we want to make sure these are conifers. I think we can get one more set of that in. So we'll just place that down, common box it in, and then we'll flip the orientation. And make sure, again, these are conifers. So now we have a nice long row of all these trees. And that, I don't know how much that's going to produce. I believe that's going to produce, let's see here, that produces 11,200, so we're producing 66,000 units of trees. And we, of course, want to think about where we're placing this within this segment. So we'll relocate that over here. And we will flip that so that the grid is changing, at least some of the time. I think right here would be a good place for us to come in with some storage. If we can fit it. Yeah. We can fit sawdust storage right here next to our industry's main building. And let's come down again. And we'll have some log yards that will be placed up against the highway. Let's see. So we'll just reorient that, and that will work nicely. Now, our engineered wood plant does not pollute, so I think that will be a good fit right here for us to get some planed timber. And we can also come out this way. And I think what we'll do is we will place some of our sapling fields. And I think we'll let the greenhouse stand. You know, I think it's a good look for right here. That'll be totally fine. And now we want to think about, you know, more of our production line. So this will be a 45-degree angle. And let's box something in over here. I think over here would be another good place for tree storage, or maybe we can have our, yeah, that'll work. So we will have our forestry maintenance building right here. Flip that on its side and connect that in here. And we will come across with some dirt path. And I think we'll have to do that there as well. I think I made a mistake when I was building out that grid right there. Oh well. Happens to the best of us. So now let's place down a sawmill. And let's try to center this a little bit better. And we can use this odd shape as some decorating opportunity. You know, something like that. And so this will be our non-pollutive side. We might look into coming across right here and finding, you know, one thing we don't have, and I don't think I've really ever used, are workers' barracks. I think that could be something nice to fit right there. Very nice. Very nice. And so we'll want to find some kind of an entrance point over here as well for industrial traffic coming from this direction. So let's think about this side of our industry, and this is where we're going to have our trains as well. We do need to have the one-way system flow in on this side, now that I'm thinking about it. Because it's currently not flowing to this side. So that's something that we're going to want to factor in. But anyways, I think right here is going to be a good place for us to place down some warehouses. This is one thing I don't like about this map, is that this is not particularly level, and I think I'm just going to level it out at this. Just so that we can avoid the headaches later, we're just going to level this out right quick. So we'll come up to there. Let's check and make sure we're still level. We are. What I'm thinking is right here. Let's come to our road guidelines. Right here is going to be where we have that airport cargo station. We'll have that nice and level right here. Looks absolutely stunning right here. And we'll want to factor in, trains are right here. Factor in these train lines. and how they're going to interact with each other. We will have to think about that. But this is going to be, you know, our main cargo hub for this particular area. All right, so I'm thinking right here is where this is going to flank off and come in and be part of the grid. So over here, we want to think about paper. So we'll produce our paper right there, and we can store it right here. So we'll store paper right here, and let's extend out this road, I think. I wonder, what is a large airport road? Oh, that is absolutely enormous. We do not want to use that. I mean, we do. We definitely want to use it, but just not at this moment. Not at this particular moment. So let's come off of road guidelines just right now. So 300 is that one, and 570 would be the next one. And we're going to offset this by 1. And instead of using dirt paths, we're going to come in with our standard vanilla path. Or will the gravel path, like, actually fill it out? I think the gravel path may fill it out better. Not by much, but the texture at least will match a little better. I'm not thinking that's a smart idea right there. We probably won't have a lot of pedestrian traffic, I don't think, in this area, so I think that should be fine. So again, we're producing paper right here. And let's come this direction. This will be the end of our cargo road. And let's see about maybe squeezing in another warehouse. If we can. Which we definitely can. Can definitely squeeze in another one. Or, what about... Where's that post office thing? Isn't it over here? Okay. We got a post sorting facility. That I think I can make work a little bit more easily. So what I'm gonna do right here, I'm gonna come to road guideline. And I'm going to have this rail come directly behind these post-sorting facilities. And I wonder, can I fit a warehouse? Medium warehouse? No. All I can fit is warehouse yard? That's fine. So what we'll do is we'll come... I think this is the point where the warehouse yard is? No. Point is right here. And we can fit those warehouse yards right up against the rail. And these will store the planed timber. And then we'll have this be the connection into that. Let's delete that right quick. Come up to here, and let's see if this gets a smoother curve, and it does. So that'll be a nice smooth curve. We could also, well, hypothetically we could have. We might be able to. No, I don't think we can. Does not look like we'll be able to do that. That's fine. But what we can do is we can come across this highway. With our one-way industrial road. Aw, so close. I was so close. Let's try this again. So now we are connected completely into the one-way loop system. And we can have this just come up and end there. So I think that will work as a nice small forestry industry. And let's see how many workers we're allowed to have here. So we have up to 791. Let's actually have this train line go somewhere. It seems like a bit of a waste for it not to. And then this one will just go out and be the national train line. So the internal is going to be the one on the inside, and the external is going to be the one on the outside. That'll work nicely. Oh, we didn't think about how to have that enter. Well, and we also didn't really think about how to have it exit either. Well, we can fix that in a minute. Let's think about, you know, the fact that we don't have any power. I think we can use just one geothermal, maybe two. I think one geothermal should be just fine. And then we can just use an earthquake sensor or something to power up the rest. Or actually, we can just do that. Yeah, that's just fine. That is perfectly fine. We need recycling or incineration. Or 18,000 population. I think I like 18,000 population better. But we do need to have garbage processing capabilities, and we will just place those 3 incineration plants. That should be enough. We need water treatment availability, which, to be honest with you, that doesn't even have to be placed, you know, in a real location. We can just simply do this. Place down a couple of windmills. Water treatment. Place that under a road. And connect it in. And boom, we have water connected. I'll fix these water pipes off camera. Let's see what else we've got. What do we want to do? Do we want to... I wish we had something that I can literally just like surface paint concrete everywhere. Other than the surface painter mod. I know that exists. I just don't want to use it. Because that would be a mod. That would not be playing in vanilla. Is this going to be pollutive? No, that's not going to be pollutive. So we can actually come over here with some of my favorite, the horse chestnut. And that soil will eventually grow back. But yeah, this is just, I think, a generic idea of what I'm thinking about for this industrial area. It's not going to be this huge industrial complex like I'd hoped, which I could actually get this back up to level 5 pretty simply if I just come over here and add some small tree fields. Might not be very cost effective, but you know, it'll get the job done. I think that just about wraps this up. I will go ahead and jump into some detailing, and we will be right back. All right, that is going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe below. So we have this massive, massive interchange with a lot of rock and kind of mountain detailing, and I went ahead off camera and just kind of put in a faux version of the rock feature that used to be over here in what is now our forestry industry. In addition to that, I also went ahead and added our unique factory wood vision and moved our power plant along here. We are getting quite a bit of train traffic, which is good. On this internal line, all of the trains can go between here and over here to where our fishing industry is, which I also expanded out just a little bit, placing a fish market along with a couple of warehouses over here by our cargo train station. And in future episodes, we're still going to work on our rail line and really make sure that we're making it make sense. And we really do want to start thinking about passenger rail, because as it stands, this giant set of developed land that we have has no public transit, which is not good. That is not good. And the fact that we have our traffic flow at 82% is quite generous. So we need to start working on promoting primarily intercity and intra-city as well, but mostly intercity, because we do have quite a bit of tourism, gaining 644 tourists a week. That's a lot, and as you can see, we have a ton of traffic. That's a tourist. That's a hearse. That's a tourist. That's a tourist. That's a tourist. That's a tourist. And then we have a total of one person in all of this. 2 people in this giant block of traffic that are residents instead of tourists. So that's one thing that we're definitely going to look towards, and maybe we'll do an airport next. I don't think that would be entirely reasonable, though. And especially considering that we do have quite a bit of industrial demand and demand for commercial zones. So we could potentially think about our farmland out here as a next step, because we're not going to be able to get to the university until we hit about 28,000. Just because in this city, I want to maintain this old style that... which one was it? It's one of these over here. Yeah, these that have very similar styles and roofs to the university buildings, especially when they're in this boreal theme. So I think we'll wait until we get to that, which I believe is 28,000. Let's check. Our next milestone is 15,000, which will unlock a much needed crematorium. And we'll also get some of our big transport hubs as well. Then 18,000 is when we get the waste processing. And then, yes, 28,000. We have to get to 28,000 in order to get to our university. But that wraps this up for today. Thank you all so much, and enjoy a brief city tour.